Alright, so now we're going to make this rig. So I'll leave this guy open so we can refer to it, and then start one from scratch. So basically, we're just going to go in and create 4 adaptive components, put some lines in between them, and then start placing points and making parameters that control where these points are. You can see this is quarters, right? Quarters here, and then we'll move in and work on some other parts of it. So you're going to go to File, New, Family. You're going to grab the adaptive component, generic adaptive component, generic model adaptive, and click Open. And again, I'm going to change my background. I should make a template that has this so I don't have to keep doing it. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to my reference level here, and I'm going to place 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 out there. And then I'm just going to pick those and make them adaptive. And then I'm just going to line them up just to make my life easier. So I'm just picking them and changing these listing dimensions to get them all in line. You don't have to do this, but I just find it's much easier to imagine what you're doing when you're doing it and everything's orthogonal. Alright, so if we go back and we can look either at the AutoCAD, right, which we need to basically build this thing, right? So we're going to need some points along here that divide this guy into quarters, mostly, right? You can see the quarters happening here. And there's 1, 2 that are at 0.125, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some reference lines in here so we have a square. So I'm going to go to Reference, Line, make sure it's set on Draw and Face and 3D Snapping. And I'm going to come in and 1, 2, hit Escape once, 1, 2, hit Escape once, 1, 2, hit Escape, and 1, 2, and hit Escape. And the reason I didn't go all the way around is because I want them to be the zeros and the ones of those to be starting at the same side, so it makes sense. Now once I've done that, I can come through and I can start putting my points on. So if I come in and start placing points here and I want this to be divided into quarters, I can just come in and put 3 points in, 3 points in, and 3 points in. And while I could come in and pick these 2 and just move them, I'll pick one first so you can see it has a normalized curve distance, and I can move it to 0.25, right? And that would go to 0.25. Typically what I will do is pick this, associate a family parameter with it, make a new parameter, call it 0.25, click OK, click OK, and then I can just assign that parameter, right, to these, and they'll all be 0.25, right? And then I can do the same for this. It'll take me a minute to assign the parameter, so 0.50, but not too long, right? And click OK. And then that just, you don't have to do this since they're not going to move, but I tend to like to put a parameter on them. So these guys would be 0.75. So if I don't have it set to 0.75, I can actually name it. This is just a name, a title. And then if I pick this one and set it to 0.75, all of these are coming up in the family types dialog box now. So it's this guy right here, and I can come in and say 0.75. So basically what these parameters are allowing me to do is adjust those. And so then I can come in and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I can come in and, whoops, these guys are at the long end, so I can pick these and go ahead and put the 0.75 on them, right? These would be the 0.5s, and these would be the 0.25s. Okay. All right, so now we basically got that set up. If we look at the next part of what we want to do, if we look at it in 3D, right, basically we want to start putting these guys together too, right, which if we look at these guys, right, connect and create that. So we want to put 1, 2, 1, 2, and go ahead and do that. All right, so we'll do that, and then we'll come back, or maybe we'll put these guys in too, because we need these two that go across. So come back to this guy, and so we want to go right from the middle to the quarter. Is that a quarter or a third? Yeah, that's a quarter. Okay, so we want to go from the middle to the quarter, right? So reference line, make sure that 3D snapping and draw on face is on, and you can go from there to there, right? From there to there, to there, there to there, right? And so now the proportions of this are a little off because it's square and it shouldn't be, but that's fine. So now if I go and take a look at this, right, in the 3D, we need points in the middle of that, and then we need to divide these guys into thirds, right, and this guy into quarters. So it's just really kind of, so we're going to put a point here in the middle, 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 right? And then we need to go in and draw a reference line from here to here, from here to here. And again, this gets divided into 4, this gets divided into 4. Or actually, this gets divided into thirds, right? So that's a little different. So you can see that that gets divided into thirds. So this guy, we just have 2 points on it. 2, 1, 2. And this one is going to be 0.33, right? So 0.33, which is a repeatable. And click OK. And then this guy is going to be 0.66. Click OK, click OK. And then I can go in, and if we take a look at the 0.66, I can make that 2 divided by 3, right? And then the 0.33, I can make that 1 divided by 3, right? And it'll give that repeat for us, and it'll place those guys where we want them. And then if we go back, right, we've got those guys where we want them. And then we need the one in the middle, which is in quarters. So let's go ahead and finish that off. So reference line from there to there, and then point, point, point. This one would be the quarter. And this one would be the 3/4, 0.75. And now we're kind of ready to go to the next stage, which is to bring in and push the second level down. And I'll show you how to do that when we get back.